All right, so today we're going to talk about do-it-yourself credit repair with or without software. Now, if you're just on a budget, don't have the money to pay for credit repair, I get it. Fix it yourself, or at least attempt to. That's better than not trying at all. But is it better to try to figure this out on your own, or is it better to use a do-it-yourself credit repair software? Spoiler alert, I'm gonna give you the answer now. It's better to try to figure it out yourself. I'm telling you. All these softwares, they use Metro 2. All do-it-yourself credit repair uses Metro 2 because it's easy to set up a software to use the Metro 2 codes. And it's also easy for ChatGPT. All these do-it-yourself credit repair companies like DisputeBeast, they're using ChatGPT. We've already proved that, or the seeker did rather. They don't want you to think it's using ChatGPT because they want you to think it's using something that's better than ChatGPT. Well, when the system generates those letters using ChatGPT, the credit bureau's 𝐸 system is extremely sophisticated. It knows that that letter is being drafted using ChatGPT. That's why it's not very effective. Well, that and the fact that it uses Metro 2. Now, they'll claim it uses consumer laws and it uses factual disputing. Well, just because there's a consumer law or two in the template, and that's all it is, ChatGPT creates a template. It does create a different template each time, but just because it quotes a consumer law or two does not make that a consumer law dispute. The law has to be in the actual dispute about the negative account for it to be considered a consumer law dispute. And as far as the factual disputing goes, there's nothing in there about factual disputing. So, and that's not to say, I'm not trying to down these software companies. They're trying to make money. That's why they exist. You got Prodigy Surge, you got Dispute Panda. Even the one I use offers free Metro 2 letters. We don't use it because it's just not effective. Metro 2 is not a law. You have no leg to stand on if the bureaus violate your rights when you mail in letters. So why would you use it? So this is what you need to do if you don't know where to start when it comes to fixing your credit. Sign up for something like Identity IQ, MyScore IQ if you want FICO scores. Go down through all the negative accounts and whatever is inaccurate and incomplete on that account across all 3 credit reporting agencies. You want to point those out in the letters. I don't care how much is in there. Put every single bit of it in one single letter. Everything. If there's 20 things that's inaccuracy on that account, including the payment history, put it in that letter. Put it for that one account, put it in there. For each account that's negative, go across all 3 bureaus. If it's not reporting on all 3 bureaus, then just point out what's inaccurate on it. Because the bearing of proof is on them to figure out what's inaccurate and incomplete. Once you're done drafting a letter with all those negative accounts, of course you're going to want to put your name, your address, last 4 your social, which bureau you're sending it to, and then at the bottom you want to put your name again. Sign it. Yes, I know everybody says don't sign your letters. Don't put your wet signature on there. You want to sign it. It's proof that it's coming from you. And if you have the time, go to your local bank or somewhere that does notaries, have it notarized. Have the notary sign it. Well, they have to sign it. You sign it. That's proof that it come from you. If you do those things, point out everything that's inaccurate and incomplete on every single item that's negative, and they verify it, reach out to an FCRA attorney. You have a lawsuit because they did not conduct a reasonable investigation. If they did, they would have fixed all those inaccuracies. And also, if they stalled and say it looks like it's not coming from you, how? You literally had it notarized and signed it yourself. So if you're going to fix your credit yourself, that's the way to do it. Most people just don't have the time, and I get it. It's much easier to pay somebody to do the work for you. There's so many people on social media and everywhere else saying, why are you paying people when you can do it yourself? Well, I mean, if I cut my finger off working on something outside, I can sew it myself. It'd save me a ton of money, right? But the chances of me sewing it up right versus a surgeon that does this every day, probably ain't gonna work out so good. And I'm just saying that's just an example that I wanted to use. So you're better off to try to figure this out yourself than using these softwares that probably ain't gonna work very good for your situation, especially if you have like high limit charge-offs. Metro 2 is not removing those. You may get lucky and get off, a couple of cheap AT&T bills or some medical bills or something simple like that, collections. But when it comes to charge-offs and bankruptcies and repossessions, student loans, child support, Metro 2 is not happening. I mean, I'm not going to say that it don't work, because it can absolutely work and get you results. Anything you mail in, anything, whether you do it, you use one of these cheap software companies, or I do it, there's always a 50-50 chance. That's your chances of getting negative items deleted from your credit report. I don't care what none of these experts and gurus are telling you. It's 50-50. Why? Because they're either going to remove it or they're not. That's the only two options. Now, their job is to do a thorough investigation. They're supposed to forward that information to the creditor. They're not going to LexisNexis. Everybody says that too. Freeze LexisNexis, freeze Innovis. They're going there. They go there when you shop for things. So I'm telling you, if you have a Capital One charge-off, they're going to Capital One. They're not going to LexisNexis. They're not going to Innovis. I'm telling you, I've been doing this long enough. Trust me, I know what I'm talking about. If you do not have the money to pay a company to fix your credit, do not use do-it-yourself credit repair software. I promise you, I'm trying to save you even more money because they're going to charge you for their software. So anyways, if y'all have any questions about this video, leave them in the comments. Hope you have a great night.